Okay, we're on to the next part of our build. So the graphics card is done, so we'll put it aside. It's not ready to go in yet. Okay, so one thing I don't like about this case is the lack of really a whole lot of space and convenience for any kind of cable management back here. Like this cable channel here is just so completely full and even bowing out a little bit, and bowing out so much that it interferes with the glass. Okay, so I have to disconnect all of the RGB anyways because we're going to be redoing it, so might as well get some of that stuff out of the way now. Radiator out. Radiator a little dirty, not too bad. Now I've also decided what I'm going to do, and this is after Steve and Newegg's issues, although this didn't come from Newegg, but this is still an open box kit, Corsair Vengeance Pro, 32 gig, 3200 megahertz CL16 that I'm going to be replacing the exact same spec from Trident Z. Trident Z, I guess, in Canada. I'm going to be replacing it so that I can have the RGB controlled by iCue. Since basically everything at this point, except for the water block, which I'm hoping I'll be able to MacGyver into iCue somehow, by making an adapter, everything. Oh, neat, I never realized these were black on one side and silver on the other. So these are going to get repurposed into another computer. Placed with you. I also have these quad loop fans that, you know, I have just the LLs right now with the loop on one side. I have these ones that I could put in here. I just right now I don't know where to put them. So let's start by freeing up some space here, getting rid of some of these fans. course, that means I will have to open up this channel. Earlier parts to this video. Look how massive this is. This is from Corsair's AX1000. Like that's just ridiculous. Twist tie right here, right behind the drives. So I'll probably have to take the drives out. And I think the drive, one of the screws is here. So this one's easy. The other one screws right in there. So. Alright, 2 more light loops out. The last one's going to stay there because nothing's really changing in that area, but here I got to put top rad, front rad, so I need to free up that space. Next up, taking the old 3900X out. Let's give it maybe a quick clean before we do. Now, I had actually done a bad thing with this 3900X. I had an issue. I don't remember what right now, where I had to take the NZXT pump off of it, and I don't remember why, but I took it off. I don't think I took the CPU out of the socket, but I did put it back on without repasting. I looked at the thermal paste and I said, good enough, I'll be lazy. And I don't know that I ever noticed much of a difference in my thermals. I mean, before I had the NZXT on here, I had the Wraith Prism cooler on it, and definitely the temps were toasty at that point. While folding, it'd be up at around 95C, which is probably very close, if not at thermal throttling. And when I went to the AIO, the temps dropped to about 65, 75 or so. And it's always kind of been around there as well, so I don't think it really did anything. but it's not what you should do. So I'm actually going to go grab the plastic case for it, or I'll just reuse this one. So I am swapping a 3900X for 5900X. I want the extra single core performance. Got a Zen 3, and it was on a pretty good sale, so why not? Out with Zen 2, in with Zen 3. I really wish these things had a rotated socket so that AMD name, Ryzen name, all that would face downwards. Of course, you know, none of it matters once the block is on, but still, it's a little bit of my... Yep. And I am going to repurpose this. I did buy a another X570 board. I'm going to put my old computer that's got an FX8350 in it. So it'll be a good upgrade there. I kind of want to blow this out a little bit more. Yeah. Alright, so we're going to pause here. I'm going to go blow this out a little bit more, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. We're a little bit cleaner too. We're a little bit colder also. Okay, so I think my next step is going to be Jay's block. This is the box that started all of this. It started the water cooling. It started, yep, it's in the box. That started the upgrade to the 5900X. That started then deciding, hey, let's take the opportunity and upgrade my other computer at the same time. So, all started because of Jay's water block. Thanks, Jay, I think. Also, take out the rest of this stuff here. Taking the bracket off. Really should have come pre-mounted with this one. So this was the original backing, and they are suggesting I use this tape here to hold it in place. Why not? Alright, so JayzTwoCents water block with his little logo on the thermal paste in the back is going in. Kind of wish they had put this cable up at the top. You know, why have it coming out here in the middle of your board where it's going to be a little bit harder to hide? You just got to route it right back up. Corsair, if you're listening to a nobody who's taken a video of this, who may or may not post it on YouTube afterwards. I don't know if I'll be able to route this. I feel like it was different yeah, it was different here. Obviously different design. Yeah, it did mean I could route it, so let's just start with let's go something like that for now. So, there you have it. Might as well put the RAM in. That RAM actually is thinner also, I think. A little bit thinner. And it's got 10 addressable, or at least what it looked like on the website, 10 addressable RGBs instead of the 8 that the Trident Z had. Now I have to start planning. Well, I did start planning already, but I have to start making sure my plan actually works. So let's start putting some of this stuff. So definitely this is going to go here with the fittings on the front, because fittings on the back wouldn't really make sense, I don't think. And I don't want to run out of tubing, because if not, that means this project is going to take weeks instead of a day or two. My local Canada Computers, I did leave them a little comment. They were selling the Corsair kit that I picked up, right? And then they had some extra radiators on hand and some extra fittings and some extra tubing. But the tubing that they had was 12 millimeters, and the tubing that comes with the kit is 14, so that's a no-go. And then the fittings that they had, although they also did sell, they had one box of soft tubing. All the fittings that they had were for soft tubing. So I kind of let them know, hey, it's great that you're selling this water cooling kit. I get, not a lot of people are doing that, so they might not sell real quick. But if you're going to have some extra stuff on hand, it should be compatible with the kit. So now I also have to decide what I want to do with those QLs. Do I want to put them, all three of them, on the front radiator, or do I want to put two of them on the top here? I kind of want to put two of them on the top, because with the fans where they are right now, straight at the top, no problem. But now they're going to be a little bit lower because of the radiator. And I'm kind of thinking I want to see more of that RGB there, because it's going to be very obvious at that point. So I might do that, because I don't think I really need them in the front. That's there. And I want to try to position the radiator, I was going to say as far back as I can. I guess I'm kind of stuck unless I don't want to screw it in the front. Because I am worried that it'll be too close to the front radiator. Well, let's start screwing it in a little bit, and then we'll leave some wiggle room. So, because it's going straight to the plate, and the fans are going to be on the opposite side, I need the small screws. Thing I'll miss about having this radiator now at the top is I will miss having the light loops light up the top of the case. Did have an Atlas from Portal 2 hanging up there, and he got lit up nicely by the fans. Okay, so I've got a little bit of wiggle room to move this. You know, I'd kind of like to have it as far back as I can. And of course, if I do that, I can't hold it there. Now I'm just going to... Oh, I did this backwards, didn't I? I did. Ha ha ha, I totally did. Alright. A little bit annoying that they went with punch outs on these vertical slots. So I will have to 3D print something to help hold up the card, because that's just a lot of weight. I don't feel comfortable with all that weight being held up just by the bracket. So, it's going to look something like, can I reach this? Something like that. Okay. So, this is decision time. I'll put these back like that. And we'll put the light loops in there. And I have to make that decision before I put the front radiator on, which is therefore also preventing me from putting the pump in and figuring out its placement. Obviously it's going to go on the front, but is it going to go middle, bottom, top? I don't know yet. Again, part of the concern is the lack of tubing, and my original plan was for the pump to be here, pump to reservoir with the fittings down here, and then reservoir back to GPU, and that's a long length when I only have 50 centimeters worth of tube. Yeah, so see, I could do, see, this looks much nicer. I don't know if you guys can really see it all that well. I can, that's really all that matters, but yeah. Yeah, so I think I will do these ones. Is that a little, that is a little peel. I wonder if there's another one on the front. Sure enough, there is. Yeah, see, if I did these in the front, when I'm sitting down gaming, I'm not really going to see them all that much. Wonder how straight. Yeah, it's mostly straight. That was something that drove me nuts with some of these fans. And the rear one, which you see quite well when I'm sitting at my computer, but yeah, see that one there, you know, might not be able to see it very well on camera, but that hub sticker is not properly centered, and that drives me nuts when I watch the fans. So at least this is a little bit more subtle, being silver, so it won't be as noticeable. Yeah, so I think I will put these up here. Alright, so I'm still leaving that loose for now because I want to, you know, ideally I'd kind of like something like that. It is designed to be this way, but I want to make sure that I'll have enough clearance to go from here. You know, my plan is to go from one radiator into the next. And I want to make sure that I'll have the clearance, that I don't have to do some kind of really extreme bend. Put you on the ground for a minute. Squishing anything. Focus on you. So, yeah. Now this is, actually I might have to bring the case back up because this is where I wanted to, you know, can I do this or do I have to do that? And I'd like to try and avoid this. And I kind of prefer that because I think it would make my runs shorter, because then I'd go from the reservoir directly to the GPU as opposed to reservoir to radiator, radiator to GPU. So you know what, I'm going to have to bring the case back up and check that. You know what, let's clean up. Let's clean up a little bit, move stuff that I don't need. Alright, let's see if I can put this way so that we can both look at it. Alright, so my original plan was to put this way. Hold, yeah, put that way. Now the pump would be probably around like this halfway through. and then I would go pump to reservoir, reservoir back into GPU, and GPU on my right, your left, because that seems to be, although it doesn't matter all that much apparently, seems to be the preferred inlet side, and that's a long way to go when I'm limited to tubes that are already pre-cut. So obviously, you know, I got the length, but right, I got to go down and up and back this way, and then probably a 90-degree bend in there too, out into the GPU. Because it's on the far side, I can't really use one of the 90-degree angle adapters. Now, if I mount this way, the only concern is, can I make that bend? And I mean, maybe if I put a 90-degree adapter in there, maybe, but it doesn't. No, that's too tall. Now, if I had soft tubing, probably wouldn't be an issue, but I don't have soft tubing. Let's, now that I've shown you, I'm going to take a better look. So I have to go there. So let's put a couple screws in and just test the fit. Yeah. And I don't have enough 90s. I'll have the fan there anyway, so I can't 90-90 that. That would have been cool, because then I would have been able to put the pump down lower. What if I outlet from the pump to the GPU instead of, but then, you know, I'd have to like outlet from this guy. It would reach. It would reach. Okay, so definitely, the fittings have to go on the bottom. There's no way around that, unfortunately. Even with soft tubing, I'm not sure I'd be able to, because that's a very small area. Now it's kind of interesting on the Corsair's configurator tool. They do provide some options. Unfortunately, you know, and that's why I went EK, because Corsair doesn't have a block for the Sapphire GPU. But their design calls for a 360 in the front, but instead of the traditional sucking air in and blowing it out, they're going the other way, sucking air in and blowing it out, which I can appreciate, makes sense. That way the hot air of the radiator is not in the case. But I can't really do that. I mean, I suppose I could have. But I wanted the cleaner look of the nice front fans. Even if I used the QL fans, you know, there's still going to be the cage that you'd see that I'd rather avoid seeing. But either way, I've got a radiator blowing in and a radiator blowing out. So here I've got a radiator blowing in, here I've got a radiator blowing out. Had I reversed it, this would be blowing in, that'd be blowing out. And with tempered glass all over the place, I don't think it's really going to make that much of a difference. Shoved into this little hole. I feel like I'm going to have at least cleaner looking front. The back is going to be a mess with a bunch of cables, but I feel like the front's going to be a lot cleaner because all of the fans, I think all of the fans, I might still put the push-pull like I had before. But all of the fans are going to be plugged into the Controller Pro on the back as opposed to coming to the fan headers up here. And I've got no USB coming in for NZXT's pump block. So yeah, I think the front's going to be cleaner looking. The other thing I like about having the fitting back down here at the bottom, which was part of my initial plan, is that's where my drain valve is going to go. So that was one of the things I was kind of surprised. You know, everyone kind of recommends, hey, have a drain valve, because when it comes time to cleaning your loop, maintaining your loop, which seems to be about once a year or less, depending on how often the computer is running and in what environment. I'm kind of surprised the kit didn't come with a drain valve. To put my drain valve right at the bottom. Now they should be at the bottom of your loop. So that's where I'm planning on putting it. Get rid of some of this stuff here. I'm planning on it being right off of here. So I did get a Y splitter and the valve itself. So I'm basically planning on this being like that. Now the only thing that was a little bit annoying is that Corsair sells a Y splitter. Oh, wow, that's tight. Holy moly, I might not be able to get this off now. One moment. So I definitely wouldn't use pliers on this, but when you need to get something off, such as an oil filter on a car or anything else, there we go, without damaging it. So the drain valve is female on both ends. The Y splitter is female. Now, I'm sure some people might do some fancy things with Y splitters, like splitting up their loop into two segments or something like that. I don't know if that's really a thing or why you would do that or if you should do that. But from the videos I've seen, you know, when Jay's been building some loops, a couple other videos I've looked at, oftentimes the drain valve is on a Y splitter. It's female to female. Okay, no problems. Get a male to male adapter. Well, I have one. Corsair doesn't sell any, which is You know, so I don't know, am I supposed to be putting fittings on both sides of this and put this in the middle of a tube somewhere, somehow? That, you know, that's almost what I was going to do until Amazon saved me with next day shipping on these things. You know, I was going to put a fitting here, essentially like a 1-inch piece of pipe, another fitting, and then the valve. But then, of course, I have to also be careful that the valve doesn't stick out past the case. But I got these. Now, unfortunately, with these, and I don't know if Corsair would be able to do any better, you know, with the Y splitter and all that, same thing with the 90-degree adapters, they can rotate. So you can position them where you want. With this guy here, it doesn't rotate, so as you saw earlier when I had this hooked on, I'm not going to tighten it completely anymore, but you know, now my valve, now I'll try and play around with this. It would have been nice to have the valve itself at the top, but at least like this, it's not sticking out the case. And I think I should have enough room in there to do my 90-degree bend right here. Okay, so let's see where we're at. So we got 1 radiator, 2 radiator. Pump is going to be the next thing to figure out. Pump's probably going to go like this. Let's put you. Starting to get a lot of things back here now, so it's starting to get a little bit tricky laying you flat. Putting top to top, I'll probably just go like this, but I will try to line up these fittings here with the pump if I can, because that would be nice if I can pull that off. And again, I also have to decide if I'm doing push-pull again. Because the tempered glass sits on right in front of this and the dust filter, there's not a lot of airflow going through here. So that's why I had the push-pull. Now that was also to help circulate air from the GPU, which was spitting out a lot of hot air in here. And that's why even for months now I've been using the computer with the side panel off, because it was just an oven in there. Now with everything water cooled, I don't know how much that's going to be a thing anymore. Okay, so I know that when it comes to mounting the pump here, have, oh, you got stuff on there pretty good, eh? So I'm not 100% sure which orientation I will even take right now. Right now, my original plan was like this, you know, and I would exit out the front here, or out the side. But now I'm thinking maybe I'll go this way. I'll explain that in a second. But, so here, you know, this obviously mounts like so. And then this mounts, you have 2 choices. You can either go this way if you want to control up and down, or you can go that way if you want to control left and right. So the up and down part, I don't particularly care about, because I can still, you know, decide, do I want to go that way or that way. So I think I will put it this way so that I can better plan out fittings. Now the question is it going to go in the middle? No, can't do the middle, because you might not be able to see, but essentially the pump butts up right against the fans. So I can't do the middle. So if I go down to the bottom, I can do the bottom. Now what I'm also sort of realizing is that I don't think I will be able to do push-pull, because if that was like that, you know, that's, yeah. Okay, so I won't be able to do push-pull. That's okay. Alright, so I think these short black screws go into the radiator, but I will verify that. And then the thumb screws go into the base. That's going to be a little bit weird, but... So, anyone ever done this to a case before? Yeah, won't work. All right, so I'm gonna have to undo that. I'll have to take this out, the whole front radiator, to do this, because I went about this a little bit backwards. Live and learn, right? So, outlet, inlet, 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 and fill port. So definitely this is going out. Now, if I go out, yeah, I think, wow. If I go out this way and do a 90-degree down, degree down, and then back into here. This will then have my Y splitter, and we'll go to the GPU. Because I definitely want that as hidden away as I can. Now, I'm not quite sure how snug these things should be. I can't imagine super, super snug because of the O-ring. So we'll do that. So now I've got to cover up some holes. I wish Corsair came with more of these. Out, in, fill. I'll leave him finger tight for now. And that means that here we'll have there, and here we'll have like this. This goes here. Okay, so So, this is where we're at for now. So, pump, radiator, radiator, block, block. And now I'm noticing, damn it. Okay, how am I going to get to those bottom fittings? Problem continues. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video now while I think things through and figure out where I'm going.